Hello and welcome to the Top Show, where I will show you 10 ways coronavirus will change your life forever. Right now, COVID-19 is moving through the world and the worldwide economy gives off an impression of being falling. This is undeniably one of those seasons of distress, a period when our lives are overturned and loaded up with vulnerability. Yet, as an ever-increasing number of individuals change in accordance with life in isolate, we are beginning what's turning into a worldwide social investigation. Thoughts that we just discussed in the prior years are being placed without hesitation on a huge scale. This will be a trouble for some time, but at the same time it's setting off to the of some unbelievable changes. Number 1. Working from home. Before COVID-19, just 7% of American specialists had the choice to work from home. That doesn't imply that 7% were telecommuting, it just implies that 93% of Americans were informed that it could never be an alternative. Today, working from home is a necessity. There are no hard statistics on what number of individuals are working remotely around the globe. However, the organization Cisco has said that in China their video conferencing program has been seeing 22 times as much traffic as it did before the outbreak. The world is engaged in a global work-from-home experiment, and we're going to see firsthand just how sustainable it is. Number 2. Universal basic income. A couple of months ago, general fundamental salary appeared to be an unrealistic fantasy. Sending each individual in a nation a month-to-month check, regardless of whether they don't go to work, was beginning to manifest on the odd battlefield. However, in many nations, it didn't seem like anything we'd perceive at any point in the near future. But for the next few months, it's going to be a reality. The United Kingdom has focused on paying 80% of its labourers' pay rates, while Denmark has offered to pay upward to 90%. Also, the United States is anticipating sending a $1,200 check to pretty much every American adult. None of these plans are actually equivalent to all-inclusive fundamental pay, yet they're close. Number 3. Automation. One of the areas COVID-19 has hit the hardest is manufacturing. Anybody working in a production line is an incredibly tough spot. Working remotely isn't a choice when you work with your hands. However, for certain industrial facilities, neither is remaining at home. Organizations that use more automation are already doing better over those that depend on packing human specialists into a firmly pressed processing plant. And organizations are beginning to take note. Kaja Robotics, for instance, has said that they've seen a 25% expansion in requests in the previous 30 days alone. China has just begun replacing drivers with robots, and they're revealing that they're quicker and more secure than humans. They've even tried different things with robotic clinics, where machines take your temperature, bring your meals, and purify your space to shield people from coming into contact with someone carrying a disease. Number 4. Online learning. Schools are closing down in almost every nation that has seen an outbreak of COVID-19, and that is driving parents and teachers into a totally different period of education for the following months. Web-based learning will be the standard. Regardless of how well-informed your educator is, they will need to figure out how to make training digital. Based on early responses, it's improbable that we'll see far-reaching selection of online instruction when this is finished. Criticism from educators, up until now, has been all around negative. The serious issue is that web-based learning mixes disadvantages. Children whose parents don't have the opportunity to push them on their training fall further behind, while those who can't afford internet access are almost completely excluded. Number 5. The rise of big government. communist approaches are being executed all around the globe, even in nations drove by moderate and libertarian pioneers. The US government is anticipating burning through $1 trillion battling COVID-19. While the United Kingdom's Boris Johnson has said that there's no roof to the amount they'll spend, the Israeli government has begun utilizing its KIN's mobile phone area information to recognize everybody who has interacted with a sick patient. In the event that you've been close to them, you'll get a book instructing you to isolate yourself immediately. There are still libertarians, however their voices are being quieted. What's more, regardless of whether hands-off government returns style when this is finished, there will undoubtedly be a couple of bills passed that, before COVID-19, could never have endured. Number 6. Voting by mail. On April 15, with a pandemic ravaging their country, the people of South Korea are going to have to line up outside of booths and cast their votes in the 2020 election. It's going to be a huge problem, and the country hasn't really had time to react. So far their solution is awful. They're going to require voters to wear masks and disposable gloves. And they're going to check everyone's temperatures before allowing them to enter. We can count on the voter turnout being abysmal. And it's going to be a wake-up call for the rest of the world. It's especially going to affect the United States, where primaries are already underway and a federal election is scheduled in November. Americans are going to have to change their voting rules this year, and we can expect those changes to be permanent. Number 7. The death of small businesses. A lot of organizations are being hit hard, at the present time, yet no one as hard as bars and restaurants. France, Spain, Italy, Germany and the United Kingdom are only a couple of nations that have closed down all bars and eateries. And in nations that haven't ordered it, barely any individuals are deciding to go out for drinks for the following many months. These organizations and their workers will be stripped of any income stream that doesn't originate from the administration. A great deal of them won't be ready to endure it. That's going to change the essence of our reality, on the grounds that while a ton of nearby bars won't endure, the large organizations are going to persevere. When individuals get a craving to go living like royalty once more, and when servers begin searching for work once more, the enormous chains will in any case be there. McDonald's will face the hardship, and that will reshape our reality. Number 8. The end of reliance on China. COVID-19 couldn't come at a more terrible time for China. They were in the middle of a trade war, and COVID-19 has made things a ton worse. Up to this point, the world has depended on China as its assembling center. They make 20% of the world's merchandise, more than some other nation on Earth, and they have a much greater job in medical services. 90% of America's antitoxins originate from China. In any case, as China has gone under isolate and has battled to keep up its pace, it's become progressively clear exactly that it is so risky to depend on a solitary area to supply the world. The world is battling with a lack of ventilators and face masks, and it's simply not plausible to depend on China to deal with it all alone, particularly when they've been perhaps the hardest nation to get hit by COVID-19. Number 9. Free and universal healthcare. After the Spanish flu of 1918, nations around the globe, author Laura Spinney says, grasped the idea of associated medication. It was one of the enduring effects of the last incredible worldwide pandemic. Individuals began to understand that the strength of the poor influenced everybody, and the principal conversations that would prompt widespread medical services began. There are just a bunch of nations that don't have all-inclusive social insurance today, and one developed country. However, this could be the second that drives the remainder of the world to give free medical health care. 41% of Americans as of now state that they are bound to help general human services in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, and arrangements appear to push that way, too. The U.S. has just swore to let individuals get tried for the coronavirus for nothing out of pocket, and a few government officials are pushing to make treatment free. Number 10. A new political uprising. COVID-19 is hitting our health hard, however it's hitting our economy much harder. Many individuals will lose their jobs. Analyst predicts that 400,000 Americans will be jobless in the following not many weeks alone. What's more, before this is finished, it could be surprisingly more terrible. Another expert accepts that, before this over, 7.4 million individuals in the relaxation and cordiality industry will be unemployed. The poor will be hit hardest of all. While office laborers will be ready to work remotely from home, it'll for the most part be servers and stockroom laborers that endure this pandemic. We will gain so much from this experience. And once we realize what the genuine exercise of COVID-19 is, individuals will be requesting change. COVID-19 is going to scrutinize us, yet when that test is finished, we will have a superior comprehension of the breaks in our social orders. What's more, in case we're fortunate, our reality might conceivably end up a superior spot. During the pandemic, stay home and make sure you wash your hands thoroughly, and also like, share, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when the next video will be uploaded. See you guys later.